As an educator, I'm sure you've heard the phrase visually impaired, but what does it actually mean and how can you support pupils who are visually impaired? Hiya everyone, I'm Zoe from My Progression, and in today's video we're talking about how you can support visually impaired pupils of all ages in your classroom. Whether you're working in early years, primary, secondary or further education, having a pupil with a visual impairment can feel a bit daunting at first. But with the right knowledge and a few simple strategies, you can make a huge difference in helping that pupil feel included, confident and ready to learn. In this video, I'll break down what visual impairment means, how it might affect learning, and what practical steps you can take to build an accessible and supportive learning environment. So what do we mean by visually impaired? Well, let's start with the basics. Visually impaired refers to a wide spectrum of vision loss. Some pupils may be partially sighted, which could mean blurred vision, tunnel vision, or sensitivity to light. Of course, this isn't a full list. As I previously mentioned, vision loss is a wide spectrum. Others may have no vision at all or may rely entirely on auditory input. I'll be using the term visually impaired throughout this video as that term covers a wide range of sight loss, from partial sight to severe sight impairment to blindness. It's important to remember that no two pupils with visual impairments are the same, and impairments can show up very differently. You won't always be able to spot a visual impairment just by meeting a pupil, so the best place to start is always open, respectful communication with the pupil, their families and any specialist staff involved. Be mindful that statistics from the DFE in 2023 identified only 0.16% of the pupil population have a visual impairment. If you're finding this topic interesting, hit the thumbs up to give us a like. Whilst you're there, subscribe and click on the bell so you never miss new content from My Progression. How might vision loss affect learning? Well, pupils with a visual impairment may find certain tasks more tiring or frustrating, such as reading from the board, copying down notes, accessing diagrams or images, and navigating busy classrooms. These can all pose challenges. In younger children, vision loss can impact early literacy, social interaction and even physical development as they explore their environment through their different senses. In older pupils, challenges might include accessing complex texts, managing technology, or simply just being able to move confidently around unfamiliar spaces. However, with the right support in place, visually impaired pupils can thrive in education and achieve just as well as their peers. So how can you support visually impaired pupils in the classroom? Well, let's look at some practical ways to support those pupils, whatever their age or stage. First, always consider your seating plan and classroom layout. Make sure the pupil is sitting where they can access resources most easily. That might be close to the board, near a wall for guidance, or in a quieter part of the classroom to reduce sensory overload. Be considerate of the angle of the seating position the child is in, especially when facing the board, considering the glare and sunlight. Keep pathways clear of clutter and be consistent where furniture and equipment are placed, especially if the child has limited mobility. Next, think about how you present visual information. For pupils who are partially sighted, use large, clear fonts such as Arial and high contrast colours. Avoid overly busy displays and don't rely solely on colour coding for instructions. When using the whiteboard or screen, make sure the contrast is strong, so black text on a light background or white text on a dark background. Also, if you have any pupils who are colourblind, be mindful of how you're using colours when teaching. When you're writing in front of your class and modelling, read aloud what you write and give verbal instructions to back up anything purely visual. Visual acuity is how clearly you can see. Someone is classified as blind in the UK if their visual acuity is less than 360 with a full visual field or between 360 and 660 with a severely reduced field of vision, even when wearing corrective lenses. To break this down, it's usually measured with a chart, like the one with the big letters at the top and the tiny letters at the bottom. A normal visual acuity is 6'6", meaning you can see something at 6 metres that a person with normal vision can also see at 6 metres. If your vision is 660, It means that you can see something at 6 metres that a person with normal vision can see at 60 metres. So your vision is 10 times worse than normal. Low vision refers to a significant visual impairment that cannot be fully corrected with standard glasses, contact lenses, or medical interventions. Braille is a tactile writing system designed for individuals who are blind or have low vision. It uses raised dots to represent letters, numbers, and other symbols, allowing users to read and write through touch. You may need to give worksheets in Braille or allow extra time for them to access reading and writing tasks using specialised equipment. For pupils who use Braille or tactile resources, check in with any support staff who know that pupil best. You should also allow for more processing time. Visual impairments can make tasks like reading, writing, and navigating materials take longer. Offer extra time for completing work and don't rush transitions or move on too quickly in discussions. Check for understanding gently and regularly without putting people on the spot, just like you would all pupils. If you're interested in more videos on specific additional needs, check out our SEND series on our channel. A video I would definitely recommend you watching is Creating an Inclusive Classroom. It's all linked in the description of this video. In terms of technology, many pupils will already have tools to help them access learning, like screen readers, magnification software, or audio textbooks. As a teacher or TA, it helps to familiarise yourself with how these tools work. If you're not sure, speak to the pupil, their parent or carer, or your school's SENCO or ALNCO. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Showing curiosity and willingness will help improve the pupil's learning experience and further your own knowledge. It's important that you consider inclusion beyond the classroom. Think about group work, playtimes, school trips and assemblies. You must make it a priority to ensure pupils with visual impairments are not accidentally excluded from activities and are given the same learning experience as all other students. For example, tell them the things they need to know, such as when people leave or enter a room, or describe what's happening if it's a visual task. Offer options to take part in PE using audible balls or adapted equipment. A visually impaired pupil should not feel like they are a separate part of the class. They should feel like they are extremely valuable. And of course, like we always say at My Progression, building positive relationships with your pupils is essential. A pupil with a visual impairment may need to rely more on others for certain tasks, but that doesn't mean they want to feel different. They need to trust the adults around them, and this trust can be built in different ways. For example, use their name whilst addressing them. Ask them how they like to receive help, and give them space to be independent when they can. Small gestures like describing where a resource is placed or giving them a few moments to orient themselves show that you care, and that builds trust. So, what about exam access and independence? Well, as pupils get older, it's really important to support their independence, especially in preparation for exams or real-world situations. Work with your school's SENCO or ALNCO to make sure the pupil has the right access arrangement in exams and assessments, whether that's a reader, extra time, a scribe, or a modified paper. The key is to put this support into place well before the exam season so that the pupil can practice and feel confident. Remember, it's vital that you always involve the pupil with a visual impairment in discussions about their support. They are the expert in their own needs, and by giving them a voice in their education, you're empowering them to become confident and independent learners. Supporting a visually impaired pupil might seem like a big responsibility, but the truth is, you don't have to be an expert in vision loss. You just have to be thoughtful, proactive, and open to adapting the way that you teach. Inclusion is all about flexibility, communication, and compassion. So, if you're unsure, just ask questions. Every pupil deserves a classroom where they feel valued. With just a few small changes, you can create a safe space where visually impaired pupils feel equally included. Now, if you've got any top tips, tools, or success stories from working with visually impaired pupils, drop them in the comments section below. We love to hear from you. And if you want more videos on inclusion, neurodiversity, or supporting pupils with specific needs, just comment more so we know what content it is that you want. I've been Zoe from My Progression. Let's keep your career in motion.